Ms. McGill, at Penn, does calling for the genocide of Jews violate Penn's rules or code of conduct? Yes or no?
If the speech turns into conduct, it can be harassment.
And Dr. Gay, at Harvard, does calling for the genocide of Jews violate Harvard's rules of bullying and harassment? Yes or no?
It can be, depending on the context.
There it is. Thane Rosenbaum is here, a distinguished university professor at Touro University, the author of Saving Free Speech from Itself. Bryan Leib, the former executive director of Iranian Americans for Liberty, both joining us live here. Gentlemen, thank you both. Good to see you live here and in studio. Professor, I'll start with you if I can. We're seeing the presidents of these esteemed universities here. 3-minute exchange. This thing goes viral. The White House calling the university presidents' responses. They even said it's unacceptable. Pennsylvania's Governor Josh Shapiro going against it, calling UPenn for the Board of Trustees there to meet, discuss whether the president's testimony represents the values of the board themselves there. Professor, what do you make of these comments? And then also, and we'll get to this in a minute, but some had to walk it back. But watching that live and what we just saw there, why was it so difficult for the presidents of these esteemed universities or colleges to, again, condemn the call for genocide of Jews?
So, Sean, remember, you pointed out I have written a book on the First Amendment. So they were probably advised to say the following. You have a First Amendment right to do it, and in a university you have academic freedom to say whatever you want, right? So if you have a First Amendment right and there's academic freedom, that the Constitution overrides whatever would be in our code. The Congresswoman was asking about the code. Now, I can tell you as a law professor, those language is not protected under the First Amendment, not under the True Threats Doctrine, the Fighting Words Doctrine, in fact, even incitement to imminent lawlessness. So as a law professor, I would have told their general counsels, don't let them say that because the First Amendment does not protect intifada in the face of Jews. Here's Sean. What would she said if the question was, lynch blacks, lynch blacks, lynch blacks, or from Charleston to Arlington, from Charleston to Arlington? How long would that be allowed? And that, to me, is the context. That's why they had trouble. They were trying to balance their fear of the humanities faculty and students that are going to claim they have a First Amendment right to make a political statement, and that's what they were doing. They were making a political statement. This was not about intimidation or harassment. Jews, get over it. That's what they're saying.
And you just wonder if the answer, this sort of finding of free speech now in that moment, would have come to light had it been any other religious or ethnic group. Sean was alluding to this. We played it earlier. We got a response, by the way, clarifying from UPenn and Harvard. Here's the president of the University of Pennsylvania.
Moment, I was focused on our university's longstanding policies aligned with the U.S. Constitution, which say that speech alone is not punishable. I was not focused on, but I should have been, the irrefutable fact that a call for genocide of Jewish people is a call for some of the most terrible violence human beings can perpetrate.
So there it is, the second part. And then Harvard's president released a statement. We've got this one, too. There are some who've confused a right to free expression with the idea that Harvard will condone calls for violence against Jewish students. Let me be clear. Calls for violence or genocide against the Jewish community or any religious or ethnic group are vile. They have no place at Harvard. And those who threaten our Jewish students will be held to account. Bryan, why couldn't they say that under oath in front of Congress?
You know, it's the million-dollar question. They couldn't say it under oath. When they were asked the question, they smirked and gave, very kind of short and snippy responses. It's really unfortunate, that a very clear answer couldn't have been met with a very, clear answer, or a clear question and clear answer. But, and the video that you just saw, the comments are disabled from University of Penn. So if Thane or myself or anyone want to, give our opinion, we don't have the opportunity to do that.
No free speech?
Yeah, well, shocker there, right? No free speech. But listen, what we saw unfold on Capitol Hill was utterly shameful. And now we're seeing the PR on the back end here trying to spin this in a certain way. But it's too late. I mean, this has been happening on college campuses now for years. Jews do not feel safe. Pro-Israel supporters, Jewish or not Jewish, don't feel safe on college campuses. So they could say whatever they want. That doesn't change the facts on the ground.
That's a big point there.